Hey everyone, day 39 of the 100-day video challenge. And today what I want to talk about is the concept that we are one, or what people will call oneness. So it is really a hard concept to wrap your head around. Is that how are we all one when we're all different? And how can we really embrace the concept of oneness, again, when we are all different, and how we can agree on everything when we are so different, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I was with a client this morning and this analogy came up, and I just wanted to explain a little bit more about how that came through and what transpired from that, because it was actually really cool. Because when I'm talking to people, really cool stuff comes through and I'm like, that sounds good. So I love just sharing that, and I'm hoping that I'm sharing as much as I'm kind of receiving, because it is, constantly receiving information. So I try and share as much of it as possible. But this was a really cool one around oneness, and the concept of that we are all one, and how we can embrace that when we are so different. So the analogy starts off with the fact that we are all source energy. So we all come from energy. So if you look at everything around you, like the table, the wall, light, the air, anything that's around you, people, so everything is made out of energy. Now that energy has a base. So if you want to call the base like source energy, so this base source energy is the basis of everything. So energy is the basis of everything. Everything has an energy and everything vibrates in energy. Right down from this piece of paper, like everything vibrates with an energy, even words, thoughts, everything else. So that energy is all based on from source energy, and we're all part of source energy. But that doesn't really make sense if you can't connect to what that means. So I used the air as an example of what source energy or how energy works, and how we can be all different when we're still one. Because the way we're all different when we are one is that we are all made from the same source energy. We are all from source energy, but we take on different characteristics. And again, like as a soul in a body having a human experience, we can choose what characteristics we take on simply by, again, like with contracts before we come through, we can set contracts for ourselves and purposes for being here. Whether that's good or bad, they're all part of our human experience. And again, connecting to what that means can also, someone can actually have a similar human experience to someone else, but take on different characteristics from even their environment. A lot of us do take different characteristics from our environment, which changes who we are. And this is how I want to explain the concept of oneness, simply by looking at air. So I'm just going to explain to you, I'm going to take you for a little bit of a tour around. I have a door behind me there. And in front of me, I have a window. So there's a window here. This is where that light's coming from. So I've got a window in front of me here, and I've got a door here. Now, so in this room, and I've been in this room for a couple of hours, I've had a couple of clients, all that sort of thing. So in this room, it's really nice and warm, toasty. I've got a couple of lights on, so it's really quite a nice environment in here. It's quite warm. Now, just outside that door there, it's actually fresh. It's cold. It's breezy, because that's a walkway. That's like a hallway outside. So outside it's cool, it's fresh, it's breezy, because outside, yes, outside is different to inside. But let me explain that outside and inside, the air is the same thing. Like there's no beginning of where the air outside starts and where the air inside finishes. It's all air. It's just taken on different characteristics of the environment. So the air outside is breezy and cool. The air in here is warm and cozy. If I wanted to change the air in here, all I need to do is open that door and open that window, and that breeze will come through, making the air in this room very similar, if not the same, to the air in the hallway. So can you see that the air outside is different? It's cold and it's breezy. The air in here is warm and cozy, but it's not separate. Like there's no separation of where it starts and where it ends. It's the same air. Ooh. And as I went like that, it brightens up. And so I don't know why all of a sudden the camera brightened up then, but it just did. So this is where, if you can look at the concept of it's the same air with different characteristics, same with us. We are the same source energy, but we have different characteristics. The characteristics start from male, female. That's a new different characteristic. And then maybe age comes into it. And then so then you've got all the different other levels of characteristics that we take on in this incarnation for us to have a human experience. But what I want to connect you to is the fact that at the core of each one of us, we are all the same. Does it make sense now if you can connect the analogy to air? That the air in the whole world, there's no separation of the air in the whole world. It's just that it has different characteristics that it takes on from its environment that creates a difference in the air. Same with us. We are all energy, just like the air is energy. And you are energy and I am energy. We are all the same energy. We just have taken on different characteristics to have a human experience. Outside of this body, when you take your soul outside of this body, we are actually the same. So I just want you just to connect to that a little bit and to see if that now makes sense that we are all one. I hope so. It really helped when I spoke about the difference of the air and that the air can be different. But in actual fact, there's no beginning or end or separation. And I want to really connect to this level of separation, because if we can all connect to this level of separation, that we aren't actually separate at all. I'll give you an example, is that last night I had a really bad headache. I went to take some pills, but then I just got the thought, again, living my life guided, I went and got some essential oil and I just put it on me. Instantly, now I didn't have any expectations. I just got the thought to put it on and I just put it on. Instantly, as soon as I put that oil on, the headache lifted off, like it went. And I was like, that is weird, because I had a raging headache before, but then when I put oil on, it actually went. What that told me is I'd actually taken on the energy of someone else to create that. Someone else had a headache and I've taken it on without even knowing. This is how energy works, is energy is transferable. And a lot of the times when we have a lot of stuff going on with us, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, whatever it is, a lot of the time, because we are all the same, we are taking on each other's stuff. So you can, when you are feeling out of sorts, you can simply go, I'm just going to send back all the energy that I've taken on from everyone else, because we are all the same. We are all connected, and that there is no separation. And you can take on energy from someone halfway across the world without even knowing it. And this is where a lot of fear-based energy can be connected. This is where a lot of any kind of energy can be multiplied simply by it being transferred from person to person, because we are all made from the same energy. It all intermingles, like the air here and outside. It all intermingles, and you can take on characteristics of other people's stuff, which you then think is yours. And when you adopt it as yours, that's where you change your own characteristic and your own behavior. So even if we made a practice of just like coming back to our own energy, cleansing our own energy, putting a bubble around us every now and then just to keep our energy nice and contained, this will actually help in the management of this connection of energies, because we're all the same and we all are the one, we do actually mix our energies quite often. And it's the same with anything, and everything is energy. And so whatever we eat, whatever we do, whatever, it's all around energy. We breathe in air, we eat meat, we eat, vegetables and fruit. And the energy from that goes into us, and that becomes who we are. I was doing an experiment during the week where I didn't eat meat for one day, and I felt really relaxed and calm. Again, it could be a mindset thing. The next day I had meat and I felt a little bit kind of antsy, and I'm like, again, we can take on the stress and anything that animals go through by simply ingesting it. But sometimes we don't even need to ingest it. We can pick it up energetically, because we're all connected and we're all one. Energy is all around us. We just can't ignore how powerful energy is. And if we go around with the intention of our energy being pure love, this is where we can make a difference in the world, simply by sending that energy around and being that. So that was a bit of a long-winded answer to the question of how are we all one, and kind of extending it a little bit more into how we can shift our energy from fear-based into love is simply by being love and sending that out, and that's who we are. So I also hope that helps with you with that level of lack, like, of not being separate. We're not separate, and there is no separation between humans. If we make it so, then that's just a human experience that people are having. We can choose a different experience by remembering who we are, which is that we are all one, and we are all source energy with everything on the planet, including the plants and the animals and each other. And we do take on each other's stuff, as well as picking up what's in the environment, because it's just energy. Like the air in this room is different to the room outside, different to the outside air, but it doesn't stop. It's all one. It's just got different characteristics. So think about that and see how you can incorporate the lack of separation in your own life, and saying, if we are all connected, then what do I need to feel? How do I need to think? If we are all one, then what we do to others, we do to ourselves. If we are all one, the way we treat others is the way we treat ourselves. And just keep bringing it back to that we are all one, and you'll see that behaviors on the planet will really change when we realize that we are all the same energy. Thanks, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.